Elizabeth Alexandra Mary of Windsor, better known as Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom, has died today. Since I was a very little child and I knew about England, I learned some things about the royal family. Yes, the scandals, the info, the documentaries, the programs, the articles on newspapers about Lady Diana, Prince Charles, Prince Margaret, the Queen Mother, and Elizabeth, of course. How a girl who was not destined to become a queen became the queen and one of the most famous monarchs in the history of the world. In fact, her reign has been the longest in the history of England, even more than Queen Victoria's. From time to time, I read on newspapers that comparison of how even perennial her image appeared to be. So many popes, so many British prime ministers, so many American presidents, and she stayed in her throne, stayed in her position. Well, I wanted to share some of the material that I had about her. Here you can see part of a collection from the Life magazine from 1962 in its Spanish version, a book related to Great Britain. Yes, here this is a kind of panorama of the country. Society, economics, history, of course, and definitely we had to see the Queen. For example, in this case, the standard of Scotland above Queen Elizabeth II. The image is not so clear, but we can see her and Prince Philip during the Braemar Games, an athletic festival that dates back to the times of the Celts. Here you can see a list of all the kings and queens of England. In this case, you can see the House of Windsor. Elizabeth II was a queen for 70 years, for 7 decades, since 1952. So much pomp, so much majesty in her reign, and yet she had to face different episodes in the history of her country and the history of the world. For example, losing her colonial empire. You can see a picture from 1956 in which a Nigerian girl is giving her a bunch of flowers and she accepts them. It was a colony at that time. Now, well, by 1962 it had an autonomous government. Look at that, so tender, this picture. I really like it. From the Great Britain to the small England, it said. Another photo of her opening the parliament. Again, you can see so glorious this picture. She and Prince Philip here in the parliament. Yeah, the book continues with different aspects from miners to the middle class, men who have contributed to the country, changes in society, many things that remained, culture, universities, a lot. It's one of the books I treasure the most. It's a second-hand book that I bought about a decade ago. And also I had a National Geographic magazine from June 1966. Again, this is not particularly focused on the royal family, but, well, the capital city, London. One man's London. The many faces of this alpha city, one of the capitals of the world, I would say. And here, look at that. One of the most beautiful photos that I have. Very similar to the previous one I showed. With full panoply of state, Queen Elizabeth II opens Parliament from her gilded throne in the House of Lords. She wears her imperial state crown and ermine and velvet parliamentary robe with 18-foot trim. Bewigged High Court judges and peers in scarlet robes fill the well of the chamber. Members of the House of Commons, out of picture in foreground, stand behind them. Ambassadors, clergymen, Pharisees, and guests occupy side benches in galleries. In Britain's constitutional monarchy, Parliament wields the power, but only the sovereign can convene a session of the legislature. More pictures about the changes and the things still remaining in London at that time. And this last picture, she doesn't appear here directly, but we know she is there in the background. Trooping the colour, proud men and parading horses of the Queen's household brigade stride to martial music in honour of the monarch's official birthday each June. Her actual birth date, April the 21st. 7 regiments comprise Her Majesty's personal troops. When I was 5 years old, the city centre could be seen from my window here in Lima, Peru. My sister, who was 10, told me, Luis, do you see those towers over there? That is England. And I believed her. Could you imagine that? I have had a notion of England since 1991. Can you imagine? Oh, now at 36, I am a teacher at that Peruvian British institution here in Lima. So I know about the links between our two nations, and we try to preserve the culture and the language of Peru and England. The British dialect, the British standard received pronunciation is the variety of language that I learned in 2007 when I was in Basic 1. So as a Peruvian, maybe I shouldn't feel so much sorrow, for the death of this monarch. But as I said, it has shocked everybody in the world. This is an episode that we don't see every day at one of the greatest women, hated or admired. How not to be touched by what we are witnessing now. So this is my little and very, very humble homage to Queen Elizabeth II. Bye bye.